had them for a check. They cared nothing about the child. See, what people fail to realize that these children only stay children for so long, they grow up to be men and women. And if you don't put something good into them, that means these are our future lawyers, future doctors, future teachers. So some of the children that's in your house will come into your house as foster children. Think about that. This is your future. This is your future heart surgeon when you need a heart transplant later in life. This is your future orthopedic doctor when you break your leg later in life. So you see, that's why it's so important to raise these children and put as much structure and love into them as you can, because they are our future. You see, we're getting older every day as into senior citizens, but they're getting older as being mature adults. So you see, there's a big difference. Those are the people that we're going to need. The attorneys, the lawyers, everything. We're going to need these children. They grow up quick. It's like sometime when you just blink and you open your eyes, these kids are grown. So you got to do and put as much into them as you can. I used to travel with my kids and take them places because I wanted them to see the world. I wanted them to know that there was more to life than just living where they were living or just in Florida. We had a whole world out there that you can explore and that you can be anything. And I put that in them. You can be anything you want to be. There are no limitations on what you can become. So what they did with that was up to them. But I instilled it in them because I wanted them to be great in every way. I always taught them to put God first in their life. And as long as you put him first, everything else will fit around it. Just like you put a ball in the jar and you have the marbles and you drop those marbles around, everything will fit. But I told them, if you try to put those marbles in first, other things in life, that ball won't fit. So being a foster parent, it's a serious situation because these children, they really need someone that's good and stable and someone is willing to hang in there with them through the hard times. Because don't think, that they're going to just come into your home and like, oh, they are so precious. They're the most perfect little children. No, most of them are not. However, they can be those children. And sometimes they never become those children. But you can make a difference in their lives. Even if they don't become the child that you want them to become, what you put in them is in them. They will never forget it. They won't just be able to just let it go, because once you know something, you know what you know. So it's not like they can erase it out of their mind, but they need to have the positive things in their minds because all the badness has already happened to them. They've been abused, they've been hit, they've been cursed, they've been raped. They've done everything to them already. Even the little boys, you used to worry about the girls being raped, but they're raping these boys as much as they're raping these little girls. So foster care really need good foster parents, because like myself, I've been a foster parent since 1986. And then I have other foster parents, friends. They've been foster parents almost as long as I have. I don't know anyone that's been a foster parent as long as I have. I'm sure there's probably someone in Florida that has, but I don't know of anyone that has been a foster parent as long as I have actively. I think the longest I've taken off from having a child in my home probably was 3-4 months just to take a break. And I didn't start doing that until maybe the last 7 years ago. I always kept my kids. I would take my respite time where you get like 11 to 12 days a year respite. I would do that, but sometimes I even stopped doing that because it was too much going on. And once I got kids in my house and I had them going good, I didn't want them to go in someone else's house and they throw them off of my routine. And I have to go back and redo stuff that got undone in somebody else's house. But sometimes I would take breaks from them, maybe just day breaks, because there are foster parents that will babysit for you, because you can't just leave foster kids anywhere. It was a time if you had a foster child, you can let your mama, sister, brother, somebody else keep them if you had to go take care of something. But things are so terrible now. Each person needs to be background screened before you can leave your foster children with them. And you know, that's the best thing to do, because you know, some foster parents probably still would just leave those children anywhere or let them spend the night. I don't even play that, because in my mind, if something happens to those children, you see your face going to be on the 6 o'clock news. So the best way for you to avoid that is just follow the people rules. They got rules and regulations, and I find them to be very helpful. And I think it's some good rules and regulations, because you see, then when you leave your child with someone, if they're a licensed foster parent, the burden of those children are not on you when you leave them. They're on the person that's keeping them. So you see, you clear yourself, and that's the best way to be cleared yourself, because you don't want anything to ever fall back on you that you had no parts of. So now in your state, check it out if you're interested in being a foster parent. But remember, don't think they're going to come in just being little angels. And sometimes, even if they do come in being little angels, in about 2 weeks after they get out of that honeymoon period, they're going to show you really what you're working with, honey, and what's going on with them. I have had a child to come into my house and tear up the whole bedroom. I mean, bed, frame, desk, everything. But you know, I just sat there. I didn't even worry about it. Because for one thing, I saw her getting that rage out, and sometimes children need to get that rage out. So now when you get foster kids and you put them in a room, get some good sturdy beds in those rooms. Because you see, maybe your children that you gave birth to, they're accustomed to taking care of things, and they know how to keep it up. But sometimes with foster children, they don't know how to keep things up. Maybe they're not accustomed to taking care of stuff. Maybe they've been very destructive all through life. So don't expect for them to come in and you got your beautiful drapes hanging up to your window. Don't think they're not going to wipe their hands on them or possibly pull them down. Remember, you're dedicating a room for that foster child. Set it up in a way that is going to benefit the child, and it's going to be child-proof. And make it safe for that child. It can be colorful, but safe for that child. Fix it up where it looks nice, but it's also safe for that child to be in that room. And then as that child stay in your home, the longer they stay. So I hope that this information help you all about foster care. And just remember, when you bring a child into your home, be fair with them and love them, but yet firm. Take the time to listen to them, because these children, they want to be listened to, because nobody has ever listened to them. Some of them have gotten hit just because they want to try to talk or try to say something or try to disagree. Allow them to disagree. Let them know you can disagree, but that don't mean that it's going to go your way, but I'm going to listen. So listen to them, because when you don't listen to a person, that causes rage in them. Because then you're just ignoring them. They don't count for anything. So listen to the child and try to work with them and give them choices. And love them and be fair with them. Because when you bring a child in your home and you hurt them and they've already been hurt, it's just pain on top of pain. And that's why some of these children grow up, they're doing such terrible things, because they're so hurt and they're so angry. So I hope some of you will look into being foster parents, especially you young folks out there. Because Ms. V been a foster parent for so long, it's going to be coming close to a time now where I'm probably going to be giving up foster care. Because I know a lot of people my age that are foster parents, they're giving it up right about now. And I know in the state of Florida, there's a shortage of foster parents, especially therapeutic. Now, the agency that I work with is Daniel's Kids. Daniel's Kids is one of the largest foster care agencies in Florida. So that would be a good agency that you can call and find out about being a therapeutic foster parent, or even a traditional foster parent. I believe they do have some traditional children, but I think Daniel worked mainly with therapeutic children. And these children, they'd be in a level 1 and they'd be a level 2. 2 is a child is a little more extreme than that level 1. So that's the levels that they have in foster care. I remember foster care, that means that you're going to be working with children are the most difficult children in the foster care system. So you need to wrap your mind around that, because you don't want to bring children into your home and damage them more than they're already damaged. Because sometimes adults are so quick to say, oh, they're so bad, they so this, they so that. It don't be that the child is bad. Sometimes the child don't know they have problems. They have mental illness. You see, there's a difference. And a lot of adults have a problem with recognizing and accepting that a child is mentally ill. They just want to say, oh, that child is so bad, that their behavior is terrible. Understand, some of them behavior is off the hook, not the chain, off the hook. All of them is not just mentally ill, but then some are mentally ill and behavioral. But you have to get that child in your home, and I have to just get a child in my home, and I have to get to know that child, and I have to just sit back and watch that child and just study that child for myself. Because you have to find out, okay, this child really got a full mental problem, or is it some behavior problems there too? But even if it's behavior, it's not the behavior like their parents that they can beat it out of them. It ain't that kind of behavior. It's that behavior where so much badness has happened to them or they haven't been taught. That's what's going on with them. So you have to think about all of that, and you make up your mind, and you can be a therapeutic foster parent. If there's a husband and wife team in the house, that would be great. But even a woman, if you know that you can be loving and firm, I'm sure you would be great too as a therapeutic foster mom. However, I would never get a boy in my home that's bigger or stronger than me. Because in therapeutic care with children and foster care, you don't do no spanking and no hitting. However, with therapeutic children, sometimes you have to restrain them, because a lot of them do have mental illness problems. Or sometimes that behavior is so off the chain until they get totally out of control. So you may have to restrain this child. So can you imagine me restraining a 15 or 16-year-old? It's not going to happen. Because when you are female, we just don't have that upper body strength to restrain a child of that age. Even a small boy is strong. Even 8-year-old boys are strong. 9-year-old boys are very strong. So unless you're a woman that really work out and you're really physically fit, you need to keep all of that in mind. Because there may become a time, sometime you don't want to restrain, but sometimes you have to restrain a child to keep that child from hurting themselves or from hurting you. And also in my home with therapeutic foster care, I have alarms on all my doors. That's for that child's safety and for my safety. See, that might sound outrageous to some of you, but see, that's a way of life for me, because I've been doing this like over half of my life. Is taking care of foster children. So for me, it's normal to have alarms on my doors. Some children come in my house, I have 2 alarms on the door, because they move so quick. They be in and out of their room so fast, I won't hear that alarm go off, especially in the middle of the night. Because you see, when you're working with children with problems, you know that they're unpredictable sometimes. So you need to know where they are, especially at night. When everybody's go to bed, you need to know that everybody is in their bed, or at least in their room. Because sometimes if a child is unpredictable, you don't know what they're capable of. So you have to keep that all in mind, but don't just let that turn against you. Get your mind wrapped around it and suit your house up for these children. Because you know what? Somebody got to take care of them. If everybody said, oh, I wouldn't do it. Like my brother, he admired me so much for doing it. My oldest brother, he always admired the fact that I kept children, especially therapeutic children. But he told me, he said, nowhere in the world would I ever do it. He said, but I really admire you for doing it. But you see, I really take it literally when God tells us to take care of the widows and the orphans. Most of these children in foster care, they're orphans. They're little orphan children. They don't have anybody. And even if they got some biological moms and dads, there's obviously something wrong where they can't live with them. And then if they made their way all the way to foster care, that means they couldn't go to the mom no more. They can't go to their dad. Grandmamas, granddaddies was out, aunts, uncles, and cousins. There were no relatives showed up for these children. That's how they wind up in foster care. Because if there was some relative that wanted them, surely they could have gotten them a home study and got their home cleared to take these children before they went into the foster care system. So think about all of that. They're in the system for a reason. But these children need help. They need love, but they need firmness. You see, some people think when they see foster children, even when I'm out with my kids, I'm still firm. I'm firm at home and I'm firm in the street too. If I got the same lady that was home that told you not to do that and you couldn't do that, I'm the same woman in the street. You still gonna get checked. So you see, you got to be loving but firm with these kids, because if you don't, they will run over the top of your head, because a lot of them are used to running things. A lot of them have been raising their sisters and brothers because their mamas and daddies weren't there, especially the mamas that got custody of them. They be somewhere out in the street while the oldest child is home being the parent. So you got to think about all of that. When you bring these kids into your home, especially a sibling group, and that oldest child is used to being the parent, and now you in charge, see, you got to let her adapt to all of that, or him adapt to all of that, because they're the ones used to feeding these children. They're the ones used to bathing them and making sure that they're okay. So you can't just rip that from her either, or from him. You got to gradually let that child know that you're a child. I'm the adult, and you don't have to worry about that now. You can feel free to be a child. I'm going to take care of them and you. I'm going to be everybody's mama. So you see, you have to keep doing that, and you keep being loving with that child, and they'll usually get the sense of it, and they will trust you with their little sisters and brothers, because they come in there, they don't trust you with their sisters and brothers because they've been taken care of. But as you keep doing the same thing every day, loving yet firm, they'll get to the point where they trust you. They're going to say, oh, Miss V firm, but she's a good foster mom. I've had children tell me when they be leaving out, Miss V, I just want you to know you took such good care of me and my little brother. And thank you so much, and I will never forget you. That was a little boy. He left me and he moved with his grandmother all the way to Hawaii. Right now, that little boy, he should be probably about 28 years, about 9 or 10, and his little brother was about 6. And that was years ago. So about now, he should be probably about 28, 27 years old. But some children come back and I get to see them. My oldest foster child that ever came back to me right now, she's probably about 50. So I tell you, it's been really quite a ride. I've kept children in my house, black, white, Hispanic, all kind of children. It doesn't matter. Children are children. And see, when you're going to keep foster children, you don't care nothing about the race. You want to help the child. You don't tell them, well, I don't want no white kids. I don't want no black kids, because all of them are damaged, hurt children. They need to be fostered by someone. Enjoyed you guys talking to you about the foster care system. And something else I wanted to bring out too. When you get foster children, sometimes when you get bigger kids like 9, 10, 11 years old, and you assume, of course, these children know how to go to the bathroom. Don't assume that. Don't assume anything about these foster kids until you live with them and you find out for yourself. Because I've had a child that I just assumed 10 years old, surely you're potty trained. No, some of these children are not potty trained. You see, they learn through watching others. They learn how to go to the bathroom, but they don't learn the full fundamental of being potty trained, that you don't wet the bed at night or how to clean your bottom good. They don't know that because no one ever taught them. No one ever really officially potty trained them. So you may have a 10 or 11-year-old in your home that's not truly potty trained. They just learned from watching others to go to the bathroom. But nobody really taught them, okay, you don't wet the bed at night. You don't you clean your bottom when you go to the bathroom. Nobody ever taught them that. They kind of saw other people doing things and they kind of went along with the flow. So don't assume just because you're getting a child in your home big, they're fully potty trained, because sometimes they don't be. So it'll be a trial and error. You'll learn as you go. But alrighty, thank you so much. And I hope you guys benefited and enjoyed this video. And as usual, everything I said in this video was in Miss V's opinion. Bye-bye, guys, and I'll see you in my next video.